It's the Turf World Championships here at Eurton Racecourse on Sunday. Some of the world's best jockeys flying in, some of the world's best horses as well. The home team as strong as ever with the 4 defending champs back in the 4 divisions of the Group 1s.
Generation 5 in front, Biblos and Southern Legend. He is invincible, Beauty Generation. Exultant and Lee's Gracheur, a real cliffhanger in the bars. Exultant fights back and wins for Hong Kong. Exultant.
Magic Wand on the quick back up is clear. Magic Wand a length and a quarter. Magic Wand has won the McKinnon.
This is a rocket of the racecourse. A Thero 2 in front from Hot King Braun and beat the clock. Wow, what a 3-year-old he is.
Indy Champ down on premium, My Style and Persian Light late, but it's Indy Champ, picks up his second Group 1.
Anthony Van Dyke, Sir Dragon and Mad Moon racing up towards the line on the near side, Japan with Broom. Anthony Van Dyke has won it.
A stunning lineup then for this year's HKIR. I've got a stunning lineup here in the studio as well. Our special preview show for this year. I've got Graham Cunningham, our resident international expert, Britney Eurton from TVG and NBC in the States, and club jockey as well here, Neil Callan, who unfortunately, Neil, you're not riding on the weekend, but that does mean that we've got your services for day. And it's just an amazing lineup, isn't it? The 4 champs from last year back, and some of them in better form than others.
Yeah, it's always an exciting time of the year for Hong Kong racing. You know, we've got a lot of international contingents coming as well, so it's going to be an exciting lineup. And you know, unfortunately, I'm going to have to watch from the sidelines, but nonetheless, it'll still be exciting to watch.
Yeah, your losses are gains. So we'll get some insight into the individual races. Brittany, your first time here in Hong Kong. What have you made of it all so far?
It's pretty remarkable. It's really tough to compare this race course and just racing in general in Hong Kong to anything I've seen in the States. But the vibe, the energy here surrounding this week, it very much so resembles the Breeders' Cup. And some horses I'm looking forward to see that I have seen in the States and how they'll perform this weekend. Elite racing, top-class riders. It's really exciting.
We'll go through race by race, Graham. We've got Mr. Stunning, he's looking at a 3-peat, and Beauty Generation looking for a 3-peat as well, but not necessarily coming into the race of the form they have been in previous years.
Absolutely. I think there is a little bit of the sense of wind of change in the air. Don't get me wrong, it'd be fantastic to see either of those horses win again, and they're both going for 3-peats. But there are some dangerous rivals in town, both from Hong Kong, up-and-coming horses, and from abroad. All
right, we'll go through race by race. We'll start off with the sprint. So we'll go Sprint, Mile Cup and Vase. And the lineup for the sprint this year, headed by Beat the Clock. Jumps from barrier 3 for John Size. DB Pin, runner-up in this race for the last 2 years. Barrier 13, Ryan Moore. Mr. Stunning, Hugh Bowman from barrier 2, winner of the last 2 years. Hot King Prawn, another one for Size. Rattan, Little Giant. Down on Smash for Japan. Frankie Dettori in the saddle from barrier 8. Wishful Thinker from 9 Seasons. Bloom draws the outside barrier, Full of Beauty. Another one for John Size from barrier 5. And down to Athero. Barrier 10, Zach Purton getting down to £117 to ride Athero on the weekends. Will it be worth it, do you think, Neil?
Well, I tell you, when you look at the race and you start from the top, you kind of look, oh well, John Size is going to have a stranglehold on this race, and then you see number 14 lurk up, and it's Athero, and we all see him what he's been doing in Hong Kong at the moment. So, with such a young horse and a big future in front of him. Yeah, if I had my pick, I'd be picking him.
Extraordinary performance last time out, Brittany, but he is still a 3-year-old, taking on the older boys again.
He doesn't look like a 3-year-old, that's for sure. I had the opportunity of seeing him this morning, about 17 hands, over 1,250 pounds. And what really struck me about him is you could have a horse that's that size and that quick. Pretty remarkable, but even so, you're not going to get some great value on Athero. But overall, this race is my favorite of the 4 races because, one, the barrier draw means so much, of course. It unfolds at a quick pace, and you have a potential superstar in Athero.
All right. More from you in a minute, Graham. We'll get your thoughts on Athero in a second or so. But let's hear from the trainer himself, John Moore, as he sat down with Ed Sadler earlier in the week.
Let's start then with the horse, John, that everyone around the world now is talking about, the boom sprinter Athero. You've always spoken so highly of this horse. What's given you the belief in him?
Well, right from day one, when George and I bought him at the English yearling sales, he was just a standout in my eyes. The minute Georgie asked the stud, I think it was Tyrell, to bring him out, he just had all the, ticked all the boxes with respect to the type of, horse I was looking for. Another big yearling, but very athletic. The way he moved, demeanour and everything, he as I said, he just reminded me of Abel Friend, and I had to buy him.
The wraps were big, and he is going to put in a big performance. Winning Method hard at work trying to gather him up, but Athero wins with a leg in the air.
This time 12 months ago, he hadn't even set foot in your stables here at Sha Tin. Next week, he's going to line up as the favourite for the Hong Kong Sprint. Has he surprised you with how far he's come in such a short amount of time?
No, because he was broken at Muskoka. The word coming back was that very, very talented, at this early stages of his career. Once he came into Hong Kong and we got one of my chief riding boys, my French riding boy on board, the feedback from him straight away was very, very positive. And, just when he went out to the track here, he didn't look a 2-year-old. He looked a very advanced, 3-year-old type that, the minute he just went onto the track and galloped up sides with horses, we knew the potential was there. How good he was going to be was still, the jury was out.
This is a rocket of the racecourse. Athero 2 in front from Hot King Prawn and beat the clock. Wow, what a 3-year-old he is. Athero.
He's a pretty special horse to have for you as well, Athero. How do you compare him to your other international sprint winner in Inspiration, who you also had as a Griffin and got him to that Group 1 level?
Well, Inspiration, even getting into the sprint that year, was just like filling a space. I always remember Bill Nader rang me up and he said, would you like to run that horse? I said, look, I've, an Inspiration in the Invitation Sprint. There's a place if you want to run him. And I said, well, let me make a telephone call to Mr. Hoi Se Fan and see whether he wants to pay up the 1% for the declaration fee. The owner said yes. Okay, he's in the race. Darren Beedman, the great Darren Beedman on board, got up at 40, 50, 60 to 1 that day. So that was actually a complete surprise because that he won that day.
In front of Mythical Flight from Enthused, and on the outside, Inspiration, the giant killer. Green Birdie runs on. Apache Cat, he can't get them. It's Inspiration. Green Birdie with a big run. Inspiration in front of Green Birdie, and Inspiration takes out the sprint.
They're two totally different horses. Between Inspiration, it was a fluke that he just got in, making up numbers, and won it. And I was just, amazed that happened. This fellow, everything's been planned.
The Hong Kong Sprint's been on his agenda for a long time now. Beyond Sunday, though, what sort of plans have you got for Athero, John?
Well, I had lunch with the owner yesterday and I said, well, there's still a lot of water to go under the bridge and we'll take race by race. My dream would be, if everything goes to plan, to take him to Dubai for the Alquers. I've already won the Shaheen over there with Sterling City, and I believe that he's the right horse for the straight 6 Alquers on the 28th of March next year. But as I said, there's still a lot of water to go under the bridge, but I think he's the ideal horse for that race.
Well, there's a fair bit of water to go under the bridge before we get to Dubai, Graham, but barrier draw-wise for Athero, John Moore seemed pretty happy with barrier 10.
I can understand why. He's an immensely precocious, talented horse. The point I'd like to make very quickly is if the other jockeys don't find a way to pressure this horse, he will run off. He's done it on the clock. He broke the 1,000-metre track record. He would have beaten Sacred Kingdom's 1,200 record. And if he's allowed to set just an even pace under Zach Purton, he is capable of just going clear. So my question to you, Neil, do other jockeys think about that? And if so, who's going to put it up to Athero in the first 500 or 600?
Well, if you look at the makeup of the race, the only one that has led in the trials previous is Hot King Prawn. He's got the prime draw on the rail. Carras can either choose to take the box seat or he can just make Athero work a little bit more till he clears him and then have the option to just pop off the fence and just keep it simple that way. But, it's a championship race, so you're not going to go out there just to upset Athero from getting to the front because you might cut your own throat and then you're out of the race yourself. So
you don't want to kill your chances.
You've got to ride the race for your horse to run its best.
You shouldn't forget that Hot King Prawn was Athero this time last year. He had the huge reputation, the string of ones, and he was 2.1. And he ran a fantastic race first time out.
And Carras is in the unique position that he actually rode Athero last time out. He knows exactly what he's capable of. And Joe, to that matter as well, he rode Athero at the start before in the 1,000-metre track record run. He knows exactly what he's dealing with there. What of Beat the Clock, who's been so consistent. He's never been out of the first 3 in 22 starts here in Hong Kong.
No, he's been very good, and you know, John Size has trained him so well to keep him going for so many seasons. But you know, I think if you look at the race, for me, I think if anything's going to serve it up to him is Beat the Clock, because he's got the draw where he's going to just sit. Whether Athero gets to the front or not and does his own thing, it doesn't really matter, because Joe can pop out and make a run earlier, or he can sit and wait if the pace is good. So I think Joe's in the perfect position on a horse that has been here before and done it, and I think if anything's going to upset Athero, I think it could be Beat the Clock.
All right, well, let's hear from the trainer himself, who's mob-handed in the race as well, John Size.
Well, I think they're drawn probably according to their chances, nearly. You know, Hot King Prawns in one, and as they work their way out. But so I think the gates are pretty important for this event. It's only a short run to the first turn, and the 3 horses drawn inside will probably get the easiest run. DB Pin's been going very, very well, but it's a disappointing gate from him, and Ryan Moore will have to you know, be at his best to try and get something out of that.
On Size with 5 in the race then. They all worked well and trialled well in that last run as well. He actually trained Mr. Stunning to his first win in this race as well, Britney. He came out and won again last year, Mr. Stunning, but needs to improve off that last start effort. But he's drawn better.
Drawn much better. He's in 2, a ground-saving trip likely, but I'm just not quite sure he's the same horse that he has been in the 2 previous seasons, especially when you see the likes of Rising Star, Athero. I'm a big fan of both Beat the Clock and Hot King Prong. Maybe Hot King Prong can get the jump on Beat the Clock if Athero, for whatever reason, doesn't perform. But Mr. Stunning, it would be incredible to see a 3P. I'm just not sure he's the same horse this year as he was 2 prior.
Down on Smash, Graham, for Japan?
Yeah, unless you're a Lord Kanaloa, Japanese sprinters tend to struggle in this race, and he's a good quality horse down on Smash, and he has the Tory on board, but I don't think he's good enough.
All right, the winner then, Graham, of the Longines Hong Kong Sprint.
I think we've seen him several times, Athero. He looks a powerhouse, and I think the horses he beat last time, Hot King Prawn and Beat the Clock, are going to come to the fore again.
Brittany?
Well, I'm going to try and get a little bit more creative than that and find some value. Yes, Athero's great, and he should probably go off favored, but Hot King Prong, for me, I think second off of the layoff, off of the colic surgery, should be a fitter horse.
Athero, I think he is the one to beat. An old friend of mine, DB Pin and Seasons Bloom, I'll be looking at them at decent prices as well. Okay, that is the Longines Hong Kong Sprint. Next up for us is the mile, and can Beauty Generation bounce back?